The Abyss explorers, built for stealth, now pushed their thrusters to their maximum, racing towards the still parting maw of the entrance. The journey was punctuated by sudden lurches and jarring impacts as the city's internal systems reacted to their presence and the external pressure from the newly arrived adversaries. The organic passageways began to constrict in places, forcing Marcus to execute daring maneuvers, scraping the submersibles against the pulsating, living walls. "They're closing the gateway," Kira yelled, pointing at the main viewport. The immense organic maw they had entered through was slowly, deliberately, beginning to seal itself, the fluid membranes flowing back into place. "Full power! Ram it!" Marcus yelled, his voice strained with effort. He pushed Abyss Explorer I forward, directly towards the narrowing gap. The sub shuddered violently as its hull scraped against the closing organic lips of the entrance, the sounds of stressed metal and groaning biomaterial filling the cabin. For a terrifying second, Aiden thought they would be crushed, trapped forever in the abyssal tomb. But with a final sickening lurch, the sub broke free, emerging back into the absolute crushing darkness of the Mariana Trench. They ascended rapidly, leaving the awakening city behind, a faint, pulsing glow now visible deep below, like a malevolent eye opening in the abyss. The climb through the deep ocean was a tense, silent ordeal, punctuated only by the crackle of their comms and the relieved sighs of the crew. Upon surfacing, they were met not with calm, but with a new layer of chaos. The Nautilus II was under heavy electronic jamming. Communication was sporadic, filled with static and fragmented, frantic reports from various global channels. The disappearances were no longer isolated incidents. They were escalating into a full-blown epidemic. Major coastal cities reported mass vanishings, entire populations gone in moments, leaving behind only strange energy signatures and an eerie silence. What they had seen on the moon and in the ocean was now playing out across the globe. The adversaries were no longer just observers. They were actively harvesting, their presence expanding rapidly. Earth was no longer just an experiment. It was a battleground, a commodity to be exploited. "They're accelerating the harvest," Aiden stated, his voice grim, staring at the fragmented news feeds. "The awakening of the archives, our interference, it's triggered something. They know we're aware, and they're not slowing down." Kira, hunched over her laptop, was furiously decrypting the last fragments of data from the deep-sea archive. Her fingers flew across the keyboard, sweat beading on her brow. Suddenly, she let out a sharp gasp. "Aiden, Priya, look at this," she exclaimed, her voice a mix of terror and profound revelation. On her screen, a complex holographic projection solidified. It was a partial star chart, but overlaid with it, a series of intricate genetic sequences, almost identical to the active markers in her own DNA. But these weren't just sequences. They were blueprints. Blueprints for a weapon. And with it, a terrifying new set of coordinates. Not for another hidden base. Not for a dormant experiment. "It's a countermeasure," Kira whispered, her eyes wide with a horrifying realization. "The Creator's final design. A biological weapon, designed to fight the adversaries. But it requires a specific catalyst, a living catalyst. And the coordinates, they lead to its activation point, on Earth." The coordinates pointed to a remote, desolate region, far from any major population centers, a place shrouded in ancient myths and isolated geological formations. It was a place where human presence was minimal, but where a dormant power lay waiting. A chilling, automated voice, faint but unmistakable, began to echo through their comms, seemingly overriding all frequencies. It was the same voice they had heard on the moon, the voice from the God signal, now colder, more ominous, filled with a palpable sense of triumph and grim purpose. "Cycle 12,801 complete. Harvest protocol, advanced. Genetic catalyst, detected. Termination of resistance, imminent. Activation of final countermeasure, proceeding." The message ended abruptly, leaving a chilling silence. The countermeasure, the Creator's ultimate weapon, was now being activated, perhaps against their will, perhaps by the adversaries themselves, using the very God signal that had woken humanity. And it was happening on Earth. Aiden looked at Kira, then at Marcus and Priya. The choice was stark. Let this ancient weapon activate, potentially wiping out humanity along with the adversaries, or find a way to stop it or control it. The fate of the world now hinged on a race against an ancient alien doomsday device, one whose activation point they now knew. "We have to get there," Aiden said, his voice grim but resolute. "We have to stop it, or control it, before it's too late." In the next part of the Creator's Code, as humanity grapples with mass disappearances on Earth, a chilling new terror unfolds in the heavens. Our familiar solar system is about to be irrevocably rewritten, and the only hope lies in understanding a weapon designed to end worlds.